What up YouTube? How are we feeling today? Hope you're doing great, hope you're doing fantastic. Back with another Division 2 video and back with another banger of a build. This is my armor on kill build and this build can reach up to that 80% armor on kill. Yes, you heard me right, 80% armor on kill if you reach that max. This is so much fun. You can still shred through enemies like you see in the gameplay down below. And every single time you take out an enemy, you can get up to that 80% armor on kill, giving you an insane amount of survivability. This is a lot of fun, just running and gunning, taking out enemies and still having an insane amount of survivability with that armor on kill. Like always, we've been testing out a few different variations of this build on Twitch, where I live stream almost daily, so definitely jump over and come on and say hi, because we're always testing out. This build I made because my Twitch chat asked me to. They wanted to see an armor on kill build, and here it is, guys. We tested out a few different combinations, but this is one of the best combinations to go for, and I would love to know what other combinations you can think of, so hit me up in the comments down below. But enough intro, guys. Enjoy the gameplay. Of course, I'm gonna show you a little bit of a control point, then I'm gonna show you a mission, and then let's dive right into the build breakdown. If you have seen enough of the gameplay, you can of course skip over to the build. I have all the timestamps down below in the description. But enough intro. Enjoy!
Control point secured. Well done.
Serious trauma detected.
Additional hostiles in the memorial compound.
Go see what it was.
Do you think that will save you? Fuck yeah, let's do this! Get me out of this thing!
Someone get on that.
Where the heck?
Setting up a turret.
Engage! Fire! On you! Got him shot! My armor's done for! What are you waiting for? It's too late.
Serious trauma detected.
I'm reloading. Enemy stealing.
They're coming from the front. Pull out! Arm is shot to hell!
Fuck, it's on me.
Vital signs critical.
You are going down! Too much gas fire!
All clear.
You see that? All right, I'll take a look.
I knew it!
I can't hit him from here. God damn it!
block that tunnel door from their control center. That should keep them from being able to transport those mortars loaded with DC-62.
Serious trauma detected.
You're not going anywhere.
I've got this. Frag. One of ours is KIA. Fuck back.
You want to see what I can do?
Immediate medical assistance needed.
End of the line. Easy down.
Good work.
And there we are, guys, at our specialization. Like always, we start with our specialization. The gunner specialization is the one that you need to choose for this type of build setup, because of course we're going for the armor on kill build, and this gives us an extra 10% of taking an enemy out every single time. Next to that, we have the foam grenades. Are pretty useful as well, like you saw in the gameplay before. I used it a couple of times just to trap some enemies for a few seconds, so you can just flank them or of course take them down while all grouped up. Next, it is of course very nice to have the third reload 50% faster as well, and our armor kits repair 100% and 30% bonus armor for 10 seconds. So that's quite nice as well. Next to that, of course, I stacked into SMG, I stacked into shotgun, and I stacked into pistol. These are the 3 guns that I'm using on the build right now. But let's jump over to my skills. So for my first skill, I'm using the Revive Hive. Why the Revive Hive? Because you can still get taken out. We have 1 armor core on this build, the rest is red, so you're still a little bit squishy around that 1 million armor, and it's always nice to have that hive next to you. If you get swarmed or within countdown a door opens and all the enemies storm out, there's a big chance that you will get taken out. Although this build has a crazy amount of survivability with this insane amount of armor on kill, the Revive Hive is still a very nice skill to use. I have 10% Reviver, armor repair, 5% range and 10% health as the mods on there. Next set, I'm running around with the drone. I have 7.5% duration, 9.7% health and 7.5% armor repair. Yes, you already guessed it. This is the Fixer drone. It doesn't really help us with the healing, but this fixer drone has a duration of 232 seconds. So it will always be above your head and then boosting your damage output, because yes, we're using a talent that the skills are needed for. And this is why I chose for the fixer drone, and I will explain it a little bit more when we go over to my backpack. So let's jump over to the guns that I'm using on this build. The first gun I'm using is the Emmeline's Guard. The Emmeline's Guard is a named SMG, and this comes with perfect preservation. Yes guys, perfect preservation. This gives us an extra 12% armor over 5 seconds whenever we take an enemy out. Or if we take somebody out with a headshot, we get 24% of our armor back over that time of 5 seconds. This is why I love to run around with this SMG. It gives you a lot of armor back. In combination with everything that we're using on the build, you can reach up to that 80% armor every single time that you take somebody out. I went for, of course, full maxed out SMG damage, critical hit chance, and then of course the best attribute to have on the gun, damage to target out of cover. The secondary gun I'm using is the MOP. Why the MOP? I love to just run around with a shotgun as well, and this comes with an extra attribute, 10% armor on kill. So this gives us a more armor on kill because we rolled preservation on there as well. So again, this is the normal preservation, so this only gives you 10% armor over 5 seconds or 20% armor over 5 seconds if you do a headshot kill. But if we do a headshot kill with this shotgun, with the MOP, 20% from our preservation, and then of course, because it's the named shotgun, it gives us an extra 10% armor on kill as well. So at the max, this MOP can give you a 30% armor on kill every time that you do a headshot kill. This is why I'm using the MOP, but mainly I use the Emmeline's Guard. And why I don't switch over when I need to reload, because look at this reload time. It's only 2 seconds on this SMG, so you can easily just run around for a little bit, reload, and then just use your Emmeline's Guard again. Of course, you can switch over to the MOP, and then in the perfect world, of course, can get 30% armor on kill. If all the enemies are way too close, you can definitely use the MOP. The bullets will spread out and you will hit multiple people. So this is why I'm using the Emmeline's Guard and the MOP as my secondary. Then over to my handgun, I'm just using the TDI card, but again, you can use whatever you like. I'm not using my handgun on this build, or not that often, so choose whatever makes you comfortable, or in my opinion, choose what you do not have proficient yet. This is just a straight up, easy and cheap way to get all your handguns proficient. If you have one handgun proficient, just switch it over to a different handgun that you don't have proficient yet, and then just rank up all those handguns. But let's jump over to the pieces of gear that I use on this build. And for the first 2 pieces, we're using System Corruption. Yes guys, System Corruption is a brand set out there, and that gives you 15% armor on kill if you use 2 pieces. And that's why we're using 2 pieces of System Corruption. I went for weapon damage, critical hit chance on there, and then an armor on kill mod. This is a maxed out armor on kill mod. You cannot get higher than this. And I went for critical hit chance because I still want to reach that 50 to 55% critical hit chance before I go into critical hit damage, to make sure that most of my shots are critical hit shots. So overall, we do a lot more damage output. I did exactly the same for my holster, went for System Corruption. This is the second piece, so now that 15% armor on kill is activated. 15% weapon damage and 12% critical hit damage as the attribute on there. Then for my knee pads, I'm using Bellstone. Again, we're using 2 pieces of Bellstone. Why? Because the first piece will give us a 1% armor regeneration. is pretty nice to have. That 1% doesn't really help you that much with close to 1 million armor, but we're all doing it for that second piece, that 10% armor on kill. I was lucky enough to find it with critical hit damage and critical hit chance already maxed out, so I could roll that armor core away for some weapon damage. I did exactly the same for my backpack. Yes, I chose for the backpack for Bellstone. Again, I found it with critical hit chance and critical hit damage. I needed to optimize it a little bit so I could roll that weapon damage over that armor core. This is our secondary Bellstone, so this activates an extra 10% armor on kill. And of course, we chose for that maxed out armor on kill mod on there. And what type of talent are we using? We're using Companion. And this is why I'm using, of course, that Fixer drone. It will always be above my head. This is one of the skills that always stays close to you, and you will always have Companion procced. And like I showed you, this has a duration of 232 seconds. So every single room that you encounter, you will have this Companion active. While you are within 5 meters of an ally or a skill, total weapon damage is increased by 15%. So even if you're running around in countdown, you could even switch over to a skill. Then I would recommend go, for example, for the foam launcher. You can trap the enemies, and because you're running around with a group of 4 or probably a group of 8 within countdown, you're always near to your allies, so you will always get that extra 15% damage output for a Companion. But because we're running around with this build solo as well, this works in a group, this works solo, this works everywhere, guys. That's why we're using, of course, that Fixer drone to activate Companion. What you could also go for is, of course, Vigilance to get a little bit more damage output, but I was lucky enough to find it with Companion. What you also could go for is, of course, Bloodsucker. Bloodsucker will give you more armor on kill and will definitely help you out with the survivability, but you will lose some damage output. I don't know if you noticed, but I tried a few times to do it without Companion, so without calling in my drone. You can see that in the second part of my CP gameplay and 1 or 2 rooms within my gameplay of the Lincoln. I tested it out if we still do a decent amount of damage without Companion, but I still like my damage output. That's why I chose for Companion instead of then, of course, Bloodsucker, because Bloodsucker will give us a lot more armor on kill. In my opinion, in my perfect world, I would go for Vigilance. Yes, Vigilance will deactivate if you get hit, and with this build you can get hit quite a lot, but still that damage output that's there, it helps you survive as well. You run through enemies quite a lot faster, but I found it with Companion, and this combination is still very viable. But in my opinion, I would love to go for Vigilance. But enough about my backpack, let's jump over to my gloves. And for the gloves, I'm using the 511 Death Grips. This is my only blue core on the build, because I didn't find it with critical hit chance. I needed to roll that critical hit damage over that, so I couldn't change the armor roll. If you have one with critical hit chance or critical hit damage already on there, definitely optimize it and then roll that armor away for some extra damage output. Then, of course, for the weapon damage. But this is how I found it, and this is how we are using it. You still have a little bit more survivability, close to that 1 million armor, because we're rocking 1 armor core. And of course, why are we using it? Because this gives us an extra 10% armor on kill as well. So let's jump over to the last piece, and that is my chest. And we're talking about the Sokolov chest, of course. Why the Sokolov? Because this gives us an extra 10% SMG damage. I found it with 12% critical hit damage and 10% headshot damage already on there. Optimized the weapon damage to the max cap. put a maxed out armor on kill mod on there, and rolled the talent obliterate on there. Critical hits increase total weapon damage by 1% for 5 seconds, and this stacks up to 25 times. So you only have to hit an enemy or multiple enemies 25 times to get obliterate to proc, to get it to that max cap of 25% extra damage output. In combination with, of course, the damage output of obliterate and our backpack with companion, we can hit up to that 40% extra weapon damage, and this is why we can still shred with this build, although we're not using that much of damage talents on our gun, but this is still a very fun and viable build to run around with. So this is the overview, guys. I'm running the gunner specialization for that 10% armor on kill, so that is our first 10% armor on kill. Then we have 15% armor on kill because we're running 2 pieces of system corruption, so that's 25% armor on kill. And next that we are using the double bellstone, of course, for that 1% armor regeneration and an extra 10% armor on kill, so that's 35% armor on kill. And then of course the 511 death grips for an extra 10% armor on kill, and that brings us up to 45% armor on kill. But again, guys, don't forget that if you're using the Emmeline's Guard, we're getting an extra 24% armor on kill if you do a headshot. So this boosts us up to close to that 70% armor on kill. And if you use the mop and you take out somebody with a headshot, you can get that 80% armor on kill, or at least close to that 80%. But because we're running around with 3 maxed out mods for armor on kill, we are near to that 80%, or maybe even above that 80% every single time that you take somebody out with the mop, or 70% if you are taking somebody out with the Emmeline's Guard named SMG. So let's jump over to the stats. I have 54% critical hit chance and 110% critical hit damage next to that. 80% headshot damage as well, because we're having an extra 10% on our chest, and the rest comes of course from our keener watch. Then let's jump over to the defensive. We have 913k armor. Next to that we have 467k armor on kill, guys. Yes, this is a little bit higher than the 50, around that 60% armor on kill, but don't forget that 20 or even that 30% from our weapons is not counted on this armor on kill. So we can get even more. Like I explained, you can get up to that 70 to 80% armor on kill whenever you take somebody out. Next up, we have a little 9.1k armor regeneration, because we're having, of course, that 1% extra armor regeneration from our bellstone. But yeah, guys, that's pretty much it for the build. These are all the stats. And man, this is so much fun to play around with. You can still do a decent amount of damage, and you have a high survivability, running around, gunning people, and instantly getting your armor back. Almost to that full. It's so much fun to play around with, and definitely try it out. I would love to hear what you are running around with an armor on kill build, and what would you change on the build. Are you changing to vigilance, or are you going full armor on kill and going for bloodsucker? Let me know in the comments down below, but that's pretty much it. Thanks for watching, hope you enjoyed. Don't forget to smash that like button and hit that subscribers button. And of course the notification bell. PurePrime out!